The next human species will not arrive in a spaceship. It will not crawl out of a cave. It will not appear suddenly with gray skin, giant eyes, and 3 hands. It will probably be born in a hospital, wrapped in a blanket, given a name, held by parents who think they are just protecting their child. And technically they will be right. The species that replaces humans will not begin as an enemy. It will begin as medicine, a child with a deadly genetic disease, a doctor with a tool that can rewrite part of the code. A parent asked one impossible question. If we can remove this suffering before it starts, why wouldn't we? At first, no one calls it evolution. They call it treatment, they call it prevention, they call it a miracle. But evolution has never cared what we call things. It only cares what changes. And for the first time in the history of life, one species is learning how to edit itself on purpose. For almost 4 billion years, life changed blindly. Mutations happened by accident. Some helped, some harmed, most did nothing. Nature tested bodies through hunger, disease, climate, predators, birth, death, and time. That was the old system. Slow, brutal, random. But humans are now building a different system. A system where the weak gene can be corrected, the disease risk can be lowered. The embryo can be selected, the body can be monitored, the brain can be connected, the machine can remember what the human forgets, and every step sounds reasonable. That is how the replacement begins, not with a war, with upgrades. Imagine 2 children born in the same year. One is born the old way, random. A mixture of ancestry, mutation, chance, and whatever nature happened to deal. The other is screened before birth, not for something dramatic at first, just risk. Lower chance of a painful disease, lower chance of a dangerous condition, a body with fewer inherited traps. Nothing about this child looks like science fiction. They still cry, still need sleep, still learn to walk, still have a name on a school register. But quietly the distance has begun, because once humans can remove the worst parts of chance, chance becomes something only the poor and unlucky are forced to accept. That is the first split, not human versus monster. Human versus optimized human. At first, the difference is medical, then it becomes social. The healthier child misses fewer school days. The healthier child grows with fewer limitations. The healthier child enters adulthood with advantages that did not begin at birth. They began before birth. And once that becomes possible, the pressure spreads. Parents will not ask, should we create a new species? They will ask, why should my child suffer from something we could prevent? That is how every forbidden door opens, not with evil, with love. But genes are only one path. The faster path is already in your hand. Your phone is not part of your body, but it might as well be. It remembers your friends, your money, your maps, your photos, your passwords, your conversations, your entire social life. Take it away suddenly, and you do not just feel bored, you feel reduced. Humans have always extended themselves with tools. A spear extended the arm, clothing extended the skin, writing extended memory, the internet extended the nervous system. Artificial intelligence may extend the mind. At first, AI is outside us, a screen, a voice, a box we ask questions. Then it becomes personal. It knows how you write, what you search, what you forget, what you want, what you fear. What you're likely to do next. Then children grow up with it, not as a tool they discovered later, as part of the world from the beginning. A child born into that future may never know what it means to think completely alone. Their tutor is always there. Their translator is always there. Their memory system is always there. Their second brain is always awake. Now imagine that child meeting someone from the old world, someone who still has to type, search manually, forget things. Misunderstand people, learn at the same pace as everyone else. Wait for answers. To the connected child, normal humans may not look natural. They may look unfinished. And that is before the interface moves inside the body. At first, brain-computer interfaces help people who have lost movement or speech. That is not terrifying. That is beautiful. A person trapped inside paralysis can communicate again. A body that lost function gets a bridge back to the world. But every tool that restores ability eventually raises the next question. If this can help someone recover what was lost, can it give someone else more than they ever had? Better memory, faster communication, thought-controlled machines, direct connection to AI, a mind that does not end at the skull. At that point, the next species may not have a bigger brain. It may have a bigger network. And that matters because a network is probably why we survived in the first place. Neanderthals were strong. Denisovans adapted to extreme places. Homo erectus survived longer than we have, but Homo sapiens built wider webs of knowledge, tools, stories, and cooperation. We did not win because one human brain was magic. We won because human brains connected. Now we are building a connection larger than biology. And once again, the better network may win. Then there's the third path, leaving Earth. At first, humans in space are not a new species. They are fragile visitors. They need suits, ships, oxygen, radiation shielding, 1,000 machines keeping death away. But visitors can become settlers, and settlers can become isolated. Imagine the first child born permanently away from Earth, not visiting space. Born there, raised there, their first sky is artificial, their first home is sealed, their first lesson is that air is not guaranteed. On Earth, you can be careless and still breathe. On Mars, carelessness can kill everyone. That alone changes culture. A child raised in a sealed habitat may grow up with a completely different idea of freedom. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. Freedom is keeping the system alive. Their body may change too. Lower gravity, different radiation risks, different microbes, different diets, different reproduction challenges. At first, technology compensates: exercise machines, genetic screening, medical monitoring, artificial environments. But after generations, if people are born, raised, and reproduce away from Earth, separation begins doing what it has always done. One group becomes shaped by one world, another group becomes shaped by another. And the strange thing is, Earth humans may become the fragile ones, too heavy for Mars, too unedited for radiation, too disconnected for the systems, too emotional for sealed habitats, too dependent on a planet that no longer feels like home to everyone. The first off-world humans may still call themselves human, but so would we if we were changing. No species announces the day it stops being what it was. The name stays the same until the body, mind, and world have already moved on. The scariest part is that none of this will feel like replacement. It will feel like progress. The first edited children will be celebrated because they are healthier. The first connected minds will be celebrated because they restore lost ability. The first off-world babies will be celebrated because they prove humans can survive beyond Earth. Every step will make sense. That is how the future wins. Not by looking evil, by looking useful. A parent chooses the safer embryo. A patient chooses the implant. A student grows up with AI. A colony edits children to survive radiation. A government funds enhanced workers or soldiers because another government might do it first. A company sells longer life to people rich enough to buy it. Nobody has to say, let's replace Homo sapiens. They only have to say, let's make life better. Let's reduce suffering. Let's increase performance. Let's survive. Let's not fall behind in step by step. The old human becomes optional, then outdated, then disadvantaged, then strange. This is how replacement usually works. Not one species standing over another in a final battle. Just one branch adapting faster, one population surviving better. One form of life fitting the new world more comfortably than the old one. Homo erectus did not vanish in one dramatic moment. Neanderthals did not all disappear in one battle. Denisovans faded so completely that for thousands of years we did not even know they existed. Human species do not always end with a scream. Sometimes they end as fragments. Bones, DNA, stories, and one day Homo sapiens may become the same thing. The ancestor, the old model, the strange transitional ape that built the thing that surpassed it. So what is the species that will replace humans? It may not be one species. It may be edited humans, connected humans, off-world humans, AI-assisted humans, or something made from all of them. A child born in a future colony, edited before birth, raised by AI, connected to machines, protected from diseases we still fear, adapted to a world that would kill an unmodified person. At first, that child is still human. Then their children are a little less like us. Then their grandchildren no longer share our weaknesses. Then one day they look back at our bad backs, our short lives, our diseases, our loneliness, our need to type words into machines, our fragile bodies born mostly by accident. And they do not hate us. They study us, the way we study Neanderthals. Close enough to recognize, different enough to know something changed. That is why the next species is already here, not fully grown. Not fully separate, not named yet, but forming. In hospitals, in labs, in screens, in implants, in embryos, in machines that are slowly becoming part of how humans think. For millions of years, evolution shaped us without asking permission. Now we are taking the tools from evolution's hands, and the moment a species begins editing itself, connecting itself, and preparing to leave its own planet, it stops being just another animal. It becomes a bridge. Maybe Homo sapiens is not the final human. Maybe we are the species that builds the final human, or maybe something stranger, because the next species will not need to destroy us. It will only need to improve on us, and history has already shown what happens to the older human when the newer human adapts faster. The older human becomes a fossil. The newer one gets the world.